Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about an action comedy film called A Minecraft Movie from 2025. Enjoy your viewing. The movie begins with a man named Steve telling his story. When he was a kid in the 80s, he dreamed of going into a mine, but children were not allowed to go in. As he grew older, he quit his unpromising job to finally explore the mines. And when he managed to get there, he came across the Sphere of Dominance. By combining it with another artifact, Steve opened a passage to the overworld, a place where he could build his own home out of materials he found around him. It was there that he met an angry wolf named Dennis, whom he tamed and who became his loyal friend. With Dennis by his side, Steve gained confidence, and together they created beautiful things. Everything was going great, and Steve's life seemed perfect. One day, Steve came across a strange ruin. He completed the missing parts of the structure and learned that he had just opened a portal to a completely different dimension. This place was called the Hell Dimension. There was no joy or creativity there. It was the home of ruthless creatures ruled by an evil sorceress named Malgosha. She had once dreamed of becoming an artist, but her father and other creatures destroyed her dreams, and she became evil. She stole the sphere from Steve and plans to use it to plunge the overworld into eternal darkness, because creatures cannot live in the light. Steve and Dennis were able to steal the orb back, but when Steve was captured again, he ordered Dennis to escape with the orb to the real world to hide it as far away from the evil creatures as possible, so they could never find it again. Nowadays, Garrett, the garbage man, is a former video game champion who now owns a store selling nostalgic items. But he's stuck in the past and on the verge of eviction. He goes to a storage auction organized by his friend Daryl, hoping to buy a game console that could help him financially. However, Garrett is furious when he finds out that there is no console in the box, only a sphere and a crystal. He has a nervous breakdown in front of the audience. Meanwhile, a girl named Natalie is taking her younger brother Henry to a new town called Chaglis, just a few months after they lost their mother. Henry is not happy because he has read on the internet that this city is very bad. But Natalie says they have no choice because the rent is quite cheap. Natalie gets a job at a local chip factory, working on the company's social media. Henry rides his bike to his new school. On the way, he stops by Garrett's shop and is fascinated by everything he sees, especially the blue shining crystal. Garrett tells Henry that he will soon be launching a mentoring program for those who want to win at the game called life, and charges $50 an hour. Henry asks if these people are really winning at life, and Garrett replies that it is for answering this question that he charges. After that, Henry goes to his new school, where he first has to meet with the vice principal. He gives him a name tag and tells him that they are very happy to see him, because he is the first student to enroll in the school. After an article about the school's low ratings came out, at the first lesson, the children are given an assignment to draw a banana. Henry draws a banana with a rocket. Two bullies start making fun of him, asking if he is some kind of rocket engineer. Henry says yes, and that he will prove it to them the next day. The next day at school, Henry tries to demonstrate the model rocket he has built, but the same bullies cut the wire and the rocket takes off uncontrollably and destroys the local potato factory where his sister works. The principal tells Henry that he faces expulsion for his actions and that he should call his guardian. Henry calls Garrett, the garbage man, and asks him to come to school to pretend to be his uncle. Garrett agrees when Henry offers him $26 in his store. Henry doesn't understand why his jetpack didn't work, and now it's probably going to get his sister fired from her job. He becomes completely disillusioned with science. He sees a glowing blue crystal in a sphere in Garrett's store and wonders what they are for. Garrett finds a manual that says that under no circumstances should the sphere and the crystal be combined because of the temptation of wealth, as danger lies ahead. Henry places the sphere inside the crystal, and it begins to drag him and Garrett toward the mines. Meanwhile, Natalie calls the realtor who sold her and Henry the house, and who also runs the mobile petting zoo. Natalie is scared because she has been looking for Henry everywhere, but she can't find him. However, after a while, Natalie and Dawn find Henry and Garrett in the mines, while Dennis watches them from the outside. A portal to the surface world opens, and a force comes out of it, pulling them in. Malgosha and the creatures learn of the sphere's return, which gives Steve a chance to escape their clutches and leave the underworld. All four are amazed by the beauty of the surface world, but just as they are preparing to return home, suddenly everything around them goes dark. And out of nowhere, ominous skeletons with arrows and zombies appear and start attacking them. Henry realizes how to build a shelter in the surface world and creates a fortress for himself and the others to climb to a hill. Steve reappears and helps fight the monsters. In the chaos, Garrett accidentally destroys the Earth crystal, leaving them with no chance of returning home. Morning comes and the rest of the monsters are burning in the sun. Steve explains that without the crystal, it is impossible to return home, but there is one option. They can replace the Earth crystal if they find the Forest Manor. However, this journey will be very dangerous. Steve takes them on a new journey and tells them what the surface world has to offer. He brings them to a village and shows them how the people live there and how easy it is to create different things. After a while, the creatures controlled by General Chungus appear, and the team has no choice but to fight and defend themselves. There are many of them, so Steve, Garrett, and Henry get separated from Natalie. The guys manage to escape from the pygmies, and Natalie and Dawn team up to repel the enemy attack and come across Dennis, who helps them get back to Steve. Meanwhile, Chungus returns to Malgosha and is executed, so she sends her creature, the Great Boar, to track the heroes down. Steve, Garrett, and Henry manage to reach the cave, where Garrett tries to force Steve to show him where the riches of the surface world are hidden. Steve leads him to the diamond mines, but Henry is furious with Garrett, realizing that he is the greediest person he has ever met. The Big Boar shows up, sent by Malgosha to kill them, but they manage to escape on a trolley and use the creepers, green creatures that explode. They are used to cause the explosion. The trio manages to escape just as the Big Boar is destroyed by the explosion. Meanwhile, back in the real world, one of the villagers gets lost when he leaves the surface world through a portal. Marlene accidentally hits him with a car on the road. She apologizes, but wonders why he looks so strange, with a big head. To make amends, she invites him to dinner. Although he doesn't speak English, Marlene finds him very funny and begins to fall in love with him. Meanwhile, Steve, Garrett, and Henry arrive at the Forest Manor. Steve and Garrett create a distraction by singing a song so that Henry can find the Earth Crystal. But he is found by the Enderman, a creepy, teleporting creature who tries to stop Henry from reaching his goal by projecting images of Steve, Garrett, and Natalie saying cruel things to him. Meanwhile, Steve and Garrett have to defeat Frankenstein's little monster riding a chicken before they can escape. Henry takes a sword and fights Enderman. After winning, he receives the Ender's Pearl, an artifact that allows him to teleport to wherever he throws it. When the heroes are about to flee, Malgosha and her army find them. She takes back the magic sphere, while other creatures attack the heroes. Steve and Henry manage to climb into the balloon, while Garrett stays behind to hold off the enemies. He seems to die when their supply of dynamite explodes along with the bridge. Steve and Henry are thrown by the explosion and crash. When they regain consciousness, they realize that they have been rescued by Dawn, Natalie, and Dennis. Everyone is saddened by Garrett's sacrifice, but they muster the strength to fight back against Malgosha. The sorceress uses the sphere to cover the whole world in darkness, allowing monsters to attack freely. The heroes lead the army into battle against Malgosha and her army of creatures. Henry tries to get to the top of the tower to retrieve the sphere, but Malgosha uses magic, and Henry falls. He is rescued by Garrett. Alive and well, he has arrived in a hot air balloon. Together, they destroy the tower and recover the magic sphere. All the monsters begin to melt and disappear. Malgosha makes 2 more pathetic attempts to attack Steve, but in the end he just dies. The portal to the real world reopens. The heroes say goodbye, but Steve decides to stay because he believes that he has nothing to do in the real world. Natalie argues that maybe he has something to give to this world. Steve changes his mind and joins his friends. At the end of the film, we hear Steve's voiceover telling us how the characters have fared. Thanks to Steve's help, Garrett was able to save his store and create a new arcade game that became a hit with local kids. Dawn uses Dennis and other animals from their world to develop his petting zoo. Natalie opened a self-defense course for children based on her superhero fighting skills. Henry repaired his jetpack and is now popular with his classmates. In the end, Steve and all the heroes have a party at Garrett's store. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klonsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.